Welcome back to Ordinal Revolution. My name is Shizzy. On this channel, we cover the entire ordinal space, everything ordinals, from art to the Bitcoin DeFi to everything that's going to be in this space. Man, but we're excited today. We have a really good show for you guys today. We have Paris. She's an artist. She's a creator. She's an ordinal. I guess she's an ordinal expert now. So we're gonna get all into that. So it should be really fun show. This is probably going to be like, we definitely want to get more artists. So if you're an artist and you want to get on, please reach out to us, because I think the art is one of the most important things on this Bitcoin ordinal blockchain, and everything else that comes with it. So yeah, let's get into it. Let me bring up my partner, as always, Mr. Yagobi. What's up, sir?
GM. What's going on?
GM.
Yeah.
So it's Sunday.
Yep.
And we have Paris on today, and I'm really excited for this. She reached out to me, I want to say about a week or two ago, and as soon as she did, I was like, yeah, let's do it, because she was just in our spaces. And I actually, when Chris IMSO told us about the Julio thing, that's when I actually started looking into it, probably about a month and a half ago. I was really impressed with it, from the cookbooks to the toys to the ordinals. Man, it's a lot.
Yeah. If you've been in the ordinal space, I would say, when I first got in, which was like April, I've always seen Paris in the spaces, right? So she was obviously there before me. You are right, like in terms of the art, I felt like there was this push for artists and art back in those months, maybe like March, April, May, and it wasn't really moving that like quickly in terms of getting artists onboarded and stuff like that. But Paris was already onboarded. She was like quick with it and knew that there was something special here. And so every time that I've been in the space with her, she's all about educating and learning herself as well about the space. But then trying to bring these real life products into Web3, and really that is one of the best ways to onboard like Web2 people and normies. I don't really like using that term, but it is what it is, right? So I'm super excited to really see what she's doing. I know she's doing a lot, because we keep up with ordinal Twitter, we see what she's doing through her posts and stuff. But today we really get to really dive into it, so I'm excited.
For sure. And we definitely talked to her. She was in our space, and I was really blown away about the way she really shows just with words how her project started and stuff like that. So you guys are gonna get a really good story today. So let's get into it.
Yep. Let's do it.
Welcome, Paris. Welcome to the Ordinal Revolution podcast.
Hey, what's up, Shizzy, Yagobi? Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate y'all making the time on a Sunday morning. So
for sure. We appreciate you joining us.
Yeah.
All right. So where's that? Sorry, cut you off.
No. Just wanted to thank you guys.
So on this show, we love projects, and we're definitely going to dig into that. But we really care about the people in the space and everything that comes with that. So if we don't have good people in the space, we don't have a good space, and we don't want that to happen again. So for us, we really dive into the person. So if you could stick as far back as possible and kind of lead us up until you heard that first time you heard that magical word called Bitcoin.
Yeah, one of the things I wanted to start off just telling my story is kind of like my art process, and just how I kind of just got into just the inspiration of it all. I think with Web3 and ordinals, it gives such an amazing and beautiful canvas for artists. And starting off like just as a kid, y'all, I grew up as a first generation immigrant. My parents were really hardworking, trying to build a life for me and my sister. So as you can tell, hardworking first generation parents, they don't have a lot of time. They work a lot. So you grow up with a lot of cartoons, a lot of television. My parents were Asian, so super strict, right? So not a lot of friends, not a lot of like outside time. So I grew up with a ton of cartoons, y'all. Dating back, Sesame Street, Elmo was a best friend of mine. Barney, what else? Teletubbies, So I kind of grew up with making friends with cartoons, then you kind of go into school, right? And I did a lot of doodling. I was a shy kid, right? So I had a hard time expressing my emotions. So I did it through art, right? Like the earliest times I was doodling was like Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty was a major inspo. I love Pachaco. I'm a major fan of dogs. I don't know if y'all follow my Twitter. I have a little dog named Princeton, and he's a major inspo, and I can talk about that later. But yeah, growing up, Hello Kitty, Mickey Mouse, DuckTales, Power Rangers were a big one. I mean, y'all know I was a '90s kid, right? So I grew up in that era. So with that inspo in mind, I kind of just really dived in on most of my emotions and a lot of my time into art and really trying to express myself through color. And yeah, it never changed. I went through high school that way, went into my 20s that way, just really trying to express myself with my art and really connect with cartoons. You know, as you get older, you know, you connect with different like IPs, whether it be Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, or you go into right now Peppa Pigs is a thing for like kids, right? In my 20s, I kind of connected with Marvel, y'all. I'm a big Marvel geek. Harry Potter, you know, the Pixar. Like I learned so much with the telling of stories, right? Whether it be Nemo and Ratatouille, dude. Ratatouille is one of my favorite movies. You know,
That's a good
and
one.
it is, right? Because you really connect with the food, and you connect with just being the underdog. And that connection of storytelling is what I fell in love with, how I created Julio, you know, and the way it ties into using colors and a real like character to dive into what we're doing and what we're creating and what's establishing at this time. So I started in like 2019 with investing in Bitcoin and crypto. I started in the Solana space. You know, I still have so much love with Solana just because it's easy. The people are great. I made so many friends, and I still connect with them. And I started with Monkey DAO, still part of it. Still love my Monkey DAO, my SMB, and that's where I kind of fell in love with like owning an NFT or a JPEG, and it really represents you as a person, right? And the community. So I dove into Solana, created a lot of my art there first and foremost, and that's where Julio was born. I'm never going to forget that because everyone was very heartwarming and very welcoming with Julio, right? It started in January of this year, and it also was the same time that Ordinals started. And it just, you guys, I was like, it just, you know, I started with Bitcoin. Bitcoin kind of onboarded me to crypto. Then I moved into Solana, and I was like, well, why not go back to where I started, right? And I started learning the tech. And as an artist, it was very intimidating at first, but you know, I was in spaces early on with Big God. Actually, it was a small space. It was like 5 to 10 people with a bunch of devs. I was like, hey guys, I want to inscribe. This was March. I want to inscribe. I want to have Julio as the IP, immutable and lasting forever. And I think about like these major IPs, you put them on chain, and so it's an innovative way to have it last forever, and also a different way of the whole copywriting process, right? So they were sweet enough to help me inscribe my first inscription, which was in March, and I wasn't that early, like sub 100, but it was in sub 200,000, and I have Super Julio on I think 149, and that's where it all started, guys. It's kind of like where the journey started with Bitcoin, with Solana, with Ordinals.
That's awesome. Yeah. Awesome. I love to hear like just kind of, you know, my mother's Korean, right? And so I know that immigrant parent background story, right? And it's very true to where you grow up on cartoons a lot, because they do try to be very strict. But your story of how that really kind of molded you into who you are today as an artist is awesome, because you always want to hear what the background story to an artist is, or a musical artist, or whoever is creating things, and you have a great story. So I really appreciate you sharing that with us, our audience, and the Ordinal audience today. One thing that I noticed whenever I first saw you in the spaces is that you were asking a lot of questions. You were just very curious about like the tech and stuff. So when you found out like how traditional NFTs point to IPFS links, and on Ordinals, these are inscribed on the Bitcoin blockchain forever, was that a big difference maker for you?
It was, to be honest, I was learning more of the crypto space on the Solana chain and the IPFS links, and I fully didn't understand where my art lived. And a lot of the things that I didn't like, I wanted more control over who holds it, where it lives, and that was a big thing. It was a major decision maker for me, that it's on Bitcoin, it's immutable, and it's permanent, and I have full control of owning it and making sure that it was mine, and I'm the complete founder. So it was definitely a major decision maker for me.
That's awesome. So just take it back a little bit. So you're on Solana. You're creating art over there, because Solana, I mean, Solana really took over in 2021. It really went from Ethereum NFTs right to Solana, and it was huge at one point, especially towards the end of 2021. What was it like over there, and what was your experience? And would you consider ever putting something on that chain again?
Yeah, so I think when it comes down to on-chain maxis, like whether it be ETH, Solana, I have full respect for all chains, right? I think there's a demographic for each chain, honestly. Ease of use, I definitely think Solana has that portion of it. When it comes down to Bitcoin, I feel like we're still very early, and it has the opportunity to be as easy as Solana. And it's just a different community, honestly. I think when it comes down to the Ordinal community, we have so much opportunity and so much growth, that growing and learning with people in the space, asking questions, and just using new tech to really innovate art in such a new way, and giving people full ownership of the pieces, and actually having several ways to collectability. And I think Solana has that ease of use and being able to onboard people easily at this time. I think that Ordinals has that opportunity as well. And what I love the most about it is that what I think the difference is between Solana and Ordinals is that the different layers of collectability, right? What I fell in love with it is that there's so many stories that you can tell with an Ordinal inscription, right? There is the special sats, a pizza sat, which with the cookbook, one of the things I did very innovatively that I couldn't do in Solana is that I inscribed the cookbook on a piece of Satoshi, because I love the story behind it, right?
Yeah.
So, and the cookbook is about creating a pizza. So it really kind of ties in that emotional journey for a collectors, whether it be a date or a sat name, or whether it be lower inscriptions. There's so many different ways to collect this inscription, and once you collect it, it's completely yours, right? So I think the journey for a collector is a lot more immersive, and it really dives into it. So
Yeah, it sounds like you're Ordinals now. You're Ordinals for life. That's what it sounds
100.
like.
That's awesome. Yeah, my brother is really big in the sports collectibles, and just like Pokemon collectibles. Like he's been running his business for like 10 years and is very successful in that. And I think until Ordinals, that NFT collectability wasn't really, it didn't have like the attractive features that traditional collectors normally, like they're numbered cards, or like they're specially printed rookie cards or something like that. And Ordinals can do that now because of the SAT sequence, right? So I agree with you. I think that the layer of collectability is amazing. So going back a little bit, so like when you first came in, you know, and like I said, when I first came in, people were talking about trying to onboard artists, but I didn't see a bunch of artists back in like March, April. Maybe I just wasn't looking, but now I'm still not really looking, but I'm seeing a lot more. What do you see in terms of like your art community, since you're connected to the art community? Are they more open to ordinals, or what do you see with that in the future of it?
I believe so. I think with anything new, it does take time, right? And I think when it comes down to artists, we're very connected to our process, right?
Hmm.
And the tech itself can be very intimidating. And with ordinals, and this is like when, March, April, this is when ordinals bot and inscription services were just coming up. So even then you're like, okay, how do I inscribe and where does it go? Like creating a wallet all by itself was very intimidating.
Yeah.
And finding out what there's two addresses, a ordinal address and a Bitcoin address. I mean, that itself is very confusing for an artist. I can just admit.
Yeah. Yep.
So I think now with the art community being more developed, I'm a major member in the counterfeit cult community, Prism, Boozy. They're
Yep.
wonderful. I've been friends with Prism early on. He's helped me in a way kind of understand recursive, which is also another new beast to understand, right? So I think because the art community has been more nurtured and more people are willing to help each other, more artists are being onboarded and being able to try certain things. Gamma's a major piece to it too. They made things easy. I think with the growth with ordinals, it's all about the tools of making it seamless. We're in a point in the chain where ETH and Solana was many years ago where they just was trying to figure things out. But now look at all the tools and all the devs that they've created, and you can have an NFT collection no problem, and have got snapshots for wallets.
Yeah.
We're not even there yet. So I think when it comes down to it, it's just really finding a community who's willing to support you and feeling more so comfortable to take risks with your art, and understanding like the audience that you want to branch out to. I really feel like it's gonna revolutionize the art space, just because like your brother, like with Pokemon cards. I'm a major Pokemon card collector too. I mean,
Oh, okay.
I love the collectability of it. Whether I have a really like rare Charizard that I
Oh
hold
no.
dearly, just so
Nice.
you know.
Oh,
You're
wow.
gonna put it on a chain, like no, I'm just kidding.
Logan
No,
Paul, right?
right. So I mean, like, I really think that it's just people. I when it comes down to the ordinal space, it's all about connecting with the people who are really understanding what you're doing. And then from there, I know Counterfeit's doing an amazing job
Yeah.
onboarding new artists and new people. So I think now with that being coming out every week, people are understanding that artists will be more comfortable to launch their collection. So
Yeah, for sure. And we love what Prism and counterfeit culture is doing. And I agree. And I forgot, one of the main reasons probably that it took some time was the cost to inscribe collections back then was really high, right? So with Recursion, that changes it all. So
Sure.
yeah, it does. And that's the thing
That's
with the ordinal space. Like, I think when it started, a lot of the issues that a lot of the artists were thinking of, I have this high resolution piece. How do I bring that piece and bring it to the ordinal space, right? And there weren't solutions just yet. So that's another piece where I think more people will be onboarded because of these solutions that these amazing devs are bringing to the chain. So
for sure, especially like parent and child, and the possibilities with that, it's going to be endless. Let's jump into Julio. So I'm really excited for this part. So we've been looking into it, and so what is Julio? How did it start, and how did it get its name, and everything? I don't know everything about Julio.
Yeah. This was January. I was creating. I've dived into different pieces of in my art when it came down to my childhood. Started with dinosaurs. Big Jurassic Park fan. Not even kidding. So I started with dinosaurs, and I was like, I think I need to really dive into my childhood, like my childhood period, right? Things that I loved, things that I felt. I feel like when it comes down to art, the best part of it is that you want to make your collector feel something. That's what I've always, that was always my goal, to make, when they collect my pieces, they have an emotional tie. And I thought back to when I was growing up, and there was like certain points of my childhood where where Mickey was a part of it, or Doug, or Hey Arnold, or The Simpsons, right? Bart, right? And there was a piece, like I was 12 years old and I was watching Bart Simpson going on a skateboard, right? And there was always a name to the character, so you connected with them, like they became your friends, right? So in January, I was like, I want to create a character where I can, in a way, be my best friend, because this space, whether it be Solana, Ordinals, any crypto space, is very intimidating. So in a way where I go into spaces, or I can feel comforted that I can talk about Julio, like he's a best friend that I'm trying to create with, right? So that's essentially how it started, where I'm like, okay, I want to create a friend, and how do I want to go about it? So I had a question. One of my friends are like, well, what is Julio? Is he an animal? And I was like, well, that's a good question. My inspo, just so you guys know, started with Hello Kitty, like the Hello Kitty brand, right? Y'all know Hello Kitty, Pachaco, Karopi, and just the cuteness, the cute factor that it brought. And so I was like, okay, that's kind of where it started. Then I looked, like I love my dog Princeton, and the story with him, and he's a major part to Julio's, because he is my IRL best friend. And as a pup, he had seizures, right? And he still has seizures, so he's on like seizure medication. And he's hard to train. He's a little quirky. His personality is just so funny, because he sleeps on his back and his tongue is out. So that's where Julio's tongue coming out came from.
I was wondering. I was like, is that Jordan, Michael Jordan? No, but it makes sense.
Yeah. So I was like, I was drawing him, and I was like, he needs that personality, like the Q factor, yeah, but he needs a personality that, you look at him, you're like, he's kind of cute, but he's kind of ugly. He looks kind of quirky. He's kind of unique. It's kind of like when you look at my dog, it's the exact feeling that you feel. So when I was drawing that's how it kind of came to be with the personality of Julio. And then when it came down to naming the character, I'm a big, I'm a video game fan. Like when it comes down to nerding out, you guys, a whole spectrum, right? Marvels, video games, cartoons, all me, right? So I'm a Super Mario fan. So Super Julio World, Super Mario World, that's where the inspo came from.
I like
sense. It. Yeah. I love the homage that you gave to Cos. I mean, I'm guessing that's what that is. Is that true? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, with the cross eyes. Yeah, so that's awesome.
Yeah, so I again, big geek. So street culture, I have Bear Bricks, I have Cause, like a lot of the toys, I like collectible toys. You should see my apartment, y'all. Like most of my money goes to like toys, really, or Pokemon cards, or like vintage video games, right? So
sounds like a cool chick.
Thank you. But yeah, so cause is the big one. Street graffiti. I'm originally from the East Coast, Jersey, right? So I
I'm in
know.
Philly.
Are you sweet? Yeah, I miss the
Yeah.
cheese sticks. Major.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why he's a great graffiti artist. He's great, like his transition and the medium that he used, whether it be street, and then he went into just taking a character, building it out into toys, and just using several canvases to make sure that the audience can really understand what he's trying to create. It's an inspo, you know. Cause is a major one. A big one is Stephen Harrington. I love his art, the colors. It's one. He's the fact that he's collab with Bape. So a lot of inspo on like current present day came into it as well. A lot of street culture, but I really want to hone into the emotional side, just because you know it's one of those things where I hope that when people collect my art, they do feel that nostalgia, and then when they collect my toys, they do feel that street art.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, you did a great job, you know, tying all of it into, because I see the, you know, the Mickey with the hands, and then Cause with the eyes, and then you brought your dog into it with the tongue. So it's awesome, awesome. Really love it.
Y-
So
yeah.
could you go into so we got to learn about Julio. He's great. And what are you doing with him in terms of new product lines? We know that you're doing some crazy, innovative stuff with it. So would you mind kind of getting into what you're doing with your whole Julio line?
Yeah, so going back into March, I inscribed 30 pieces, and Super Julio World consists of two parts, right? Super Julio, which is the illustration side, and then mini retro Julio is the pixel side, right? And it's 30. These 30 pieces are my OG. You know, they're sub 1 million, and they're very special to me and the people who collect it. So first and foremost, I made sure that the release of these 30 pieces were very, very slow. So I've only released 7. And it starts off with the white collection. And each collector has a Sat chip card. So CoinKite is the creator of Sat chips, and they have a card and a chip. And it's a very cool tech that they provide a Bitcoin private key. And it's one of those pieces in the community that I'm trying to build where um, people feel cohesive, whether it be digital or in real life. You know, the Ordinal ecosystem creates that for you already. You know, I love, you know, I went to NFT New York this past year, and I just love the community in real life aspect of people joining together and talking about what they're passionate about. We're in this 24/7, whether anyone wants to admit it. Whether you're in the morning saying GM, you're in spaces, you know, late at night, you're scrolling through Twitter. So it just makes sense to kind of like connect with people in real life and really talk about it. So the 7 collectors that have a white Julio also have a Sat chip card, and it has NFC technology to it. So my thought and my process is that, you know, whoever holds that mini Ordinal Julio, they can come to an experience in the future, and we can all kind of collect and talk about just the Ordinal space when that comes. I know Art Basel's coming, and people are going to Amsterdam. You know, this is just the beginning. So it's one of my thought process to making sure that each community member has that special piece to it. Now, I'm going to be releasing the rest of my mini Ordinal Julio collection this fall, and each member so on will have that Sat chip card along with a toy. And it's one of those experiences that's super important to me. You know, I think that's what makes the Ordinal ecosystem very, very different from other chains, is that you know and you feel if you're in a sub 1 million inscription community. You know that you're early on. There's that date. You've been here. There's a historical presence, right? So that's why these 30 pieces are so important to me, because I want to make sure that these community members feel that they are part of a historical moment in the Bitcoin culture. And it's something that they hold not only digitally, but physically in their hands. And my cream collection will be launching in a week or so. And the allow lists will be released tomorrow, actually, right? And the way that it'll work is that I've been building, you guys, for about, I don't know, 9 months now, right? So I know who's really passionate in the ordinal space, and also who really enjoys the journey with Julio. And I think craft, like that's the beauty of Web3. You get to craft the community that you want, people who really value the pieces. So I do release that list tomorrow, just the cream list, and then so on and so forth. But that's the kind of the beginning journey of the Julio, the Julio ecosystem, right? The Julio world. I am creating toys. I am creating a cookbook for kids specifically, but that piece of the community piece is what I'm kind of focused on right now. The toy aspect is that alpha that people know. Okay, Julio is going to create toys. And the cookbook aspect is, okay, Julio is going to be with kids. They're going to understand Bitcoin. They're going to understand the ecosystem. You know, it's those seeds that I'm planting, and people who are in the community will be able to enjoy it and be able to have first access to it, basically.
Love that. Yeah.
I actually have 2 kids, and I showed them the Julio cookbook this morning. I was like, what do you guys think about that? They liked it a lot. I'm actually gonna play that really quick for the audience, if you don't mind.
Yeah. I have it with me too, y'all.
Let me just stop screen. Sorry, let me make sure I have the audio ready. All right, here it is.
How can you not love that, man? Like that first of all, the energy is just great. It's so positive. Yeah.
Thank you.
And it seems like what you're trying to do is kind of give back, kind of in a sense, to like how you benefited when you were a child, right, or growing up and through cartoons and stuff, and then bring this new experience into that to educate. So that's awesome. Is that book inscribed on Bitcoin right now?
Yes. So you guys, here's the alpha with the book, right?
Here's the alpha. Listen up.
So reinscriptions just came out, and I thought the tech was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing, in so many different ways, because you can innovatively store your IP or any creation in one Satoshi. And I'm like, well, that's amazing, because, you know, for books or movies or animation reels or documentation, you can reference a Satoshi out there. So I went to work and I was like, and again, a lot of my inspos, you guys, is very tied into what means a lot to me. So I have a niece who is 1 year old. She's just starting to talk, and she's learning purple and yellow and colors, right? And she just learned I don't know, which is crazy. But she she loves to cook and she loves to eat, and I want I absolutely love like pizza, like obviously East Coast, y'all, you know. So I was like, okay, let me create a cookbook for her to teach her how to create pizza. Very simple. It's as simple as it gets, right? To onboard not only kids to Bitcoin, but like food.
Yeah.
So I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, how can I use reinscription to make it completely permanent and have a first collectible on one Satoshi. So this cookbook specifically is on one Satoshi. The entire page is in complete art. And that QR code that you guys see at the end, that links you to the Ordinal Satoshi that has the full images, which I think is wild on the adult end. And then on the kids end, you know, I feel like as they get older, to have that collectible to hold on to and to kind of reference to, be like, hey, I have that book. It's right here, and you can just pull it up. It's wild. So it's something that I'm trying to do. It's a collection of cookbooks that I'm going to be creating specifically for my community, and then hopefully on the rest, just to onboard new people. But this, one of the things that I want to show you guys is that so here, this little area here, there's I don't know if you can see, like this sign right here. It says 10,000 BTC, 2 pizzas, and
Oh, wow.
and right, and then Laszlo is like the developer that's it's on Julio's foot. He's the dev that sent the 10,000 BTC. So hey, good for him. So at least that's the little bits of like hints of Bitcoin in these cookbooks that I definitely want to like embed going forward.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. You added Laszlo. That's amazing. That's really cool.
Right. It's like one of those things where I feel like Bitcoin maxis can really wrap their head around where the story is embedded in Bitcoin history. And I think it's really important to not lose that when we create create on the Ordinal ecosystem. It's onboarding the masses, yes, but also Bitcoin maxis who are still kind of getting warm to the idea of Ordinals. Honoring that history is really, really important.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're 100% right. Like, being in this Ordinal space, you're trying to onboard, you know, obviously normies, and then you're trying to onboard the maxis, right? We're like in between there. And we're like, guys, come on, it's fine, and it works both ways, and I think that's really cool. And you're right though, putting some Bitcoin like references in there, whether that's, you know, Laszlo or Hal Finney or things like that, that's definitely going to bring them in and kind of give them nostalgia when they first learned about this stuff again, and I think that's really important.
Yeah, and I think kids should learn what a pizza Satoshi is. It's like, oh, it's a pizza Satoshi. I'm like, why is it called pizza Satoshi? Like, well, here, let me show you how to cook a pizza, enjoy a pizza, and let me tell you the story of Bitcoin pizza story. So,
yeah.
Talk about a $300 million pizza.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So that inscription of the cookbook, is it like on ord.io? Could I like press like the arrow and it goes to another page, or is it just kind of like a scroll of pages? How does it look like whenever you look at the inscription?
If you go on ordinals.com and just input the Satoshi number, you will get the full. So it's basically a grid and underneath, and you can see the full book right there. And then so you have a positive inscription as a first, and everything else is cursed. So if you go on ord.io, you'll see the Satoshi number, and then you'll see it listed as all the cursed inscriptions.
Gotcha.
And you can click on it, and you'll see the images.
That's awesome. Awesome.
It's really cool. All right, so what's next? You have your big launch next week. Could you tell us how many is going to be in it? Well, you said the allow list. I'm not sure if you
tomorrow.
Said the date of it. The allow list is tomorrow, and next week is I'll just let you get into it.
Yeah. So tomorrow I released the allow list. There's only 7 that will be released for the cream, and then 7 for the blue, then the graphite, and then the orange, right? The Bitcoin orange, which is the most rare, really. The value as of like how much to basically to get a mini ordinal Julio will increase as the collections increases, right? Because the value is different. But all the same, y'all get a sad chip. Everyone gets a toy, right? It's just whatever you guys like, whether it be cream, blue, graphite, Bitcoin orange. I think a lot of people like Bitcoin orange, but there's only going to be 7. So yes, tomorrow is the allow list. Then next week I'll release it to who makes the allow list, and then so on and so forth. What's next is just to mint out this collection, and then from there I release the book itself, so people will be able to order the book. My goal to release the book is around the holidays, so it's one of these things where you can kind of provide a gift for your kids. I know the fall, November, December is coming up, so it's a big thing for me. And yeah, I think from there, it's just really trying to be involved with the community and releasing these toys and these sad chips right before January. So that's kind of what's next.
Nice. Why do I have a feeling there's going to be an animated series in the future? No?
You never know. You never know. I mean, cartoons are my forte. I love the animation part. And with the tech evolving, if I can put a cartoon series as easy as I can on Ordinals, why not, right? So
yeah, for sure. Awesome.
All right. Well, this is part of the show where we give the founders, like yourself, basically a stage to talk to the community. You can say whatever you want. You get the next couple minutes, basically just say whatever you want to the people that follow you and potential new followers who watch this and want to come find you.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for giving me the time to talk about Julio and where it all started. And I also just want to say thank you to the community, who relate with my art, who fall in love with Julio, who becomes best friends with Julio, and who collect my pieces, and just being part of the journey. I'm excited for everything I'm creating because every piece is very detailed and close to my heart. So I know that once we all come together, it's something that will be beautiful and magical, and because we're all part of the Bitcoin ecosystem, right? So it's going to be amazing. One of the things I want to say to the community is that I am not going anywhere. I am building for the long run, whether it be my pieces, my retro Julio that's coming out this September, October, November, my books that's coming out in December. And I do plan to expand that come next year with a bigger collection with parent-child coming out. But for now, I want to focus on what the tech is available right now, and just want to keep building and creating for y'all. And I really, really appreciate from the bottom of my heart and whoever collects. So
awesome. Yeah, you're definitely not going anywhere. You put a book out. You put a book out. So.
And like you're bringing physical items to Bitcoin. Like how many people are doing that right now? I can probably put it on less than a handful, right? Like it's inspiration for this video right here is going to inspire so many more artists to do what you're doing, and I think that is amazing. And we just want to thank you for everything you're doing for the Ordinals community, everything you're doing for the Ordinals as a whole, and like you're doing a lot too. Like don't get yourself like we're definitely excited for what you do next.
It's not forced either. Like sometimes people try to bring, traditional products to Web3 and it seems forced, but this seems like very organic. You started with your ordinal, your ordinal collection, and it formed out to what it is. And then you're connecting the digital and physical products together just so seamlessly. So yeah, like Shizzy said, we appreciate everything you do. And we hope that you continue to educate artists and people to get them into the ordinal space, because what's happening over here is definitely different. It's not your just run-of-the-mill DeFi new thing that's not really new. You know what I mean? So
I appreciate you guys. Thank you for giving me a platform just to talk about Julio, but also just expanding and educating the ecosystem. having a platform like this is so important. And I mean, we're being like thrown information left and right? To have this video, this area to speak about just the love of ordinals, just really appreciate it. Y'all are doing an amazing job, and I'm just grateful for being part of this. So thank you.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
And with that, we definitely got to get you on again. Any future updates or anything, please hit us up and we'll have you on right away. So I just want to thank you.
Sounds good, you guys. Thank you.
Yeah. So absolutely amazing. That was so good. It was way better than I expected it to be.
Yeah, I mean,
I've
known.
high hopes for it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been listening to Paris in Spaces for a while, and I was just kind of like, I know she's building stuff because I saw Julio, and then this past week I was like, whoa, she's like, okay. Like last week we heard about the Sats chips, and I was like, okay, that's what she's been doing. And then the cookbook, and then it all like is coming together. So super happy. This makes me happy. It makes me smile because I honestly, for a second there, I was like, oh, in April, I was like, oh, they were just pushing like the higher, the artists and the higher quality art, and it's not happening. Then you have like this past couple of weeks, Gamma come out with Prince, counterfeit culture, adding artists, and then now you have Paris with her product line. I'm definitely gonna be buying her book for my niece. My niece is coming up, so super excited for the future of ordinals. I know it seems small, but man, these builders are doing big things.
And we're like being in ordinals, we're done with the AWS bullshit. We're done with that. We want our stuff inscribed in chain. Take your AWS bullshit over to Ethereum. Not here. We're inscribed. We're inside the blockchain. We're on it. And I just want to thank you guys for watching. Thanks you guys for listening, subscribing, all that. We appreciate you guys so much. Every view means so much to us. Every comment means so much. Every share means so much to us. So keep doing it, guys. We appreciate it. We're growing so fast. And we're going to continue bringing out amazing stuff for you every single day.
Yep. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of the day or Sunday. Peace.